When you're managing diabetes, paying close attention to your diet, especially your sugar intake, is so important. Now, fruits are generally packed with great nutrients, but some varieties are surprisingly high in sugar and can actually sabotage your blood sugar control if you're not careful. So, understanding which fruits to approach with a bit of caution is really key to staying healthy and feeling your best when living with diabetes. 7 high-sugar fruits diabetics must avoid. 1. Watermelon. When we think of summertime, the sweet, refreshing taste of watermelon often comes to mind, a fruit so many of us enjoy. However, if you're managing diabetes, watermelon can present a particular challenge. You see, despite its high water content, which might make it seem like a lighter choice, watermelon actually has a surprisingly high glycemic index. This means its carbohydrates are converted into glucose pretty quickly, and that can lead to a rapid and significant spike in your blood sugar levels. Even though the natural sugars in watermelon are fructose, they can still contribute to this unwanted rise if you eat too much. For those with diabetes, this quick surge can make managing blood glucose quite difficult, really undermining efforts to keep those levels stable. Now, to enjoy watermelon more safely, strict portion control is absolutely essential. Think about having a very small slice rather than a large wedge. Another great strategy is to pair watermelon with a source of protein or healthy fat, maybe a handful of nuts or a serving of Greek yogurt. This combination can help slow down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, which moderates the impact on your blood glucose. And, as always, it's a good idea to monitor your individual response because sensitivity can definitely vary from person to person. 2. Overly ripe bananas. Bananas are such a convenient and popular fruit, aren't they? But it's important to know that their impact on blood sugar can actually change quite dramatically as they ripen. While a banana that's slightly green or just yellow has more resistant starch and a lower glycemic impact, those overly ripe bananas, the ones with lots of brown spots, well, they undergo a transformation where starches convert into sugars. This significantly increases their sugar content, making them a less ideal choice if you have diabetes. Eating an overly ripe banana can lead to a quicker and higher rise in your blood glucose levels compared to one that's less ripe, and that can really pose a challenge for stable sugar management. So, if you enjoy bananas, opting for smaller, less ripe ones is definitely a better strategy. Maybe consider half a small banana instead of a whole large, overly ripe one. Pairing your banana portion with a protein source like peanut butter or a few almonds can also help buffer that sugar absorption. And if you find that even less ripe bananas affect your blood sugar too much, you might want to explore some lower sugar fruit options. Really, paying attention to ripeness and portion size is key to incorporating bananas into a diabetes-friendly diet without those undesirable blood sugar fluctuations. This way, you can still benefit from their potassium and fiber. 3. Pineapple. The tropical allure of pineapple, with its sweet and tangy flavor, can be so tempting. However, if you're managing diabetes, this fruit really does require careful consideration. Pineapple is naturally high in sugar. We're talking sucrose, fructose, and glucose, and it has a moderate to high glycemic index. This combination means it can cause a relatively quick and noticeable increase in your blood glucose levels after you eat it. The carbohydrate density of pineapple also contributes to its potential to spike blood sugar, especially if you eat larger quantities or have it on an empty stomach. And while it does offer vitamin C and manganese, its sugar profile definitely demands caution. So, for those with diabetes looking to include pineapple in their diet, moderation is absolutely paramount. It's best to stick to very small servings, perhaps just a few small chunks rather than a full slice or a whole cup. Pairing pineapple with foods rich in protein or healthy fats, like cottage cheese or a handful of seeds, can help slow down the digestion and absorption of its sugars, and that can blunt the rise in blood glucose. And a quick note, canned pineapple packed in heavy syrup should be strictly avoided because of all those added sugars. Always opt for fresh pineapple or canned pineapple in its own juice And even then, please be mindful of the portion. 4. Grapes. Grapes, whether they're green, red, or black, are often enjoyed as a convenient, bite-sized snack. But their small size and sweet taste can be quite deceptive for individuals managing diabetes. You might be surprised to learn that each little grape actually packs a punch of natural sugars. And because they're so easy to eat, it's incredibly common to consume a large quantity without even realizing it. This can lead to a significant intake of sugar and carbohydrates in a very short period, causing a rapid surge in blood glucose levels. The concentrated nature of sugar in grapes makes them a fruit that can quickly disrupt careful blood sugar management if those portion sizes aren't strictly controlled. So, for people with diabetes, mindful consumption of grapes is absolutely crucial. Instead of eating them directly from a large bunch or bag, try counting out a small portion, maybe 10 to 15 grapes, depending on their size and your individual carbohydrate goals. It's also a good idea to consider pairing this small serving with a protein source like a piece of cheese to help mitigate the impact on your blood sugar. Just being aware of how quickly the sugar from grapes can add up is the first step to enjoying them safely and preventing those unwelcome spikes in your glucose readings. This helps ensure they don't derail your health efforts. 5. Mango. Mangoes, often hailed as the king of fruits, are truly beloved for their rich, sweet, and tropical flavor. However, this deliciousness comes with a high natural sugar content, particularly fructose, which can pose a significant challenge for individuals with diabetes. Mangoes have a moderate to high glycemic index, and their dense, sugary flesh can lead to a swift and substantial rise in blood sugar levels, especially when consumed in generous portions. And while mangoes do provide beneficial nutrients like vitamin A and C, their impact on glucose control simply cannot be overlooked by those striving for stable blood sugar. Now, if you have diabetes and wish to enjoy a mango, extreme caution with portion sizes is absolutely essential. It's best to opt for a very small serving, perhaps just a few thin slices, rather than half or even a whole fruit. Pairing this small amount with a protein or fat source, such as unsweetened yogurt or a few nuts, can help to slow that sugar absorption. Alternatively, you might want to consider fruits with a lower glycemic impact, like berries or an apple, as more regular choices. For many with diabetes, mango might be a fruit that's best reserved for occasional, carefully measured treats rather than a dietary staple, just to avoid compromising blood sugar management. 6. Cherries. Cherries, with their vibrant color and delightful sweet tart taste, are such a popular fruit, especially when they're in peak season. Now, while they do offer great antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, cherries also contain a notable amount of natural sugar. For individuals managing diabetes, consuming too many cherries in one sitting can unfortunately lead to an undesirable elevation in blood sugar levels. And although their glycemic index can vary depending on the type, sweet cherries are generally higher than tart ones. The overall carbohydrate and sugar content means that unchecked consumption can easily contribute to glucose spikes. This, of course, makes careful management more difficult. So, the key to enjoying cherries if you have diabetes really lies in strict portion control. Instead of mindlessly eating them from a bowl, try counting out a small serving, perhaps around half a cup. It's also important to consider how they fit into your overall carbohydrate allowance for that meal or snack. Pairing cherries with a source of protein or healthy fat, like a small handful of almonds, can also help to buffer their impact on your blood sugar. By being mindful of the quantity, you may still be able to incorporate this tasty fruit into your diet without significantly disrupting your blood glucose control, allowing you to enjoy their flavor in moderation. 7. Lychee. Lychees are small, exotic fruits with a really unique floral sweetness and that translucent white flesh, which makes them quite an appealing treat. However, beneath their delicate exterior lies a surprisingly high concentration of sugar. So, for individuals with diabetes, this high sugar content per serving can lead to a rapid increase in blood glucose levels if they're consumed immoderately. While lychees do contain some vitamin C and a bit of fiber, their sugar load often outweighs these benefits when it comes to managing blood sugar effectively. Plus, the ease of eating multiple lychees quickly can also contribute to an unintentional sugar overload. If you have diabetes, it's truly crucial to approach lychees with significant caution. Portion control here is absolutely paramount. You'll want to limit yourself to just a few individual fruits, say 5 or 6 at a time. Because of their potent effect on blood sugar, it might be wise to consume them infrequently, treating them as a rare indulgence rather than a regular part of your fruit intake. As always, monitor your blood sugar response after eating lychees to understand how your body reacts. Pairing them with protein or fat is advisable, but their inherently high sugar content still warrants very careful consideration and strict moderation for anyone with diabetes. Why monitoring carb intake matters for diabetics. For anyone managing diabetes, vigilant monitoring of carbohydrate intake is truly a cornerstone of effective blood sugar control. You see, carbohydrates, including those found in fruits, are broken down into glucose, which directly impacts your blood sugar levels. Understanding carb counting, that is, tracking the grams of carbohydrates in your foods, allows you to manage your insulin doses or medication more effectively and predict how different foods will affect your glucose. A common guideline often suggests aiming for servings that contain around 15 grams of carbohydrates. It's really important to realize that, gram for gram, the carbohydrates from a high sugar fruit will affect your blood sugar similarly to those from a lower sugar fruit if the total carbohydrate amount consumed is the same. That's why portion size becomes so critically important, even with healthier food choices like fruit. Maintaining a consistent carbohydrate intake at meals and snacks helps keep those blood sugar levels steadier throughout the day, which is key to preventing dangerous highs and lows. Balancing fruit intake, benefits, and strategies. Despite the caution we've discussed for certain high-sugar varieties, it's important to remember that fruits remain an essential part of a healthy diet, even for individuals with diabetes. They are absolutely packed with vital nutrients, including fiber, vitamins, and minerals, all of which offer numerous health benefits. The fiber in fruit plays a particularly crucial role in diabetes management because it helps slow down the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. This leads to a more gradual rise in blood glucose levels, rather than a sharp spike. This slower absorption also promotes feelings of fullness, which can really aid in weight management, another important aspect of diabetes care. Plus, fruits provide antioxidants that combat oxidative stress, something that's often elevated in people with diabetes. So, how can you harness these benefits while minimizing the impact on your blood sugar? Well, smart strategies are key. One of the most effective approaches is pairing fruit with a source of protein or healthy fat. Think about enjoying apple slices with a tablespoon of nut butter, or perhaps berries with a serving of plain Greek yogurt. This kind of combination can significantly stabilize your blood sugar response because it slows digestion further, ensuring a steadier release of glucose. And another vital tip, always choose whole fruits over fruit juices, as juices typically lack fiber and have concentrated sugars. So, to wrap things up, while fruits offer so many valuable nutrients, those of us managing diabetes must be mindful of the high sugar varieties. The key isn't necessarily total avoidance of all fruits, but rather making informed choices, practicing strict portion control, and using smart pairing strategies. This kind of approach allows you to still enjoy nature's sweetness without compromising your careful blood sugar management. If you found this information helpful for managing diabetes, do share this article with others who might benefit. Subscribe for more health tips, and feel free to comment below with your experiences or any questions you have about fruit and diabetes management.